Two experts in ICF.
Yeah.
Decades of experience.
Uh-huh.
One podcast.
Yeah.
Two hosts with a lot to say.
Look, I cannot sit through a struggle. I gotta get up and hustle. I gotta push through the pain, cause really that's how you build muscle.
Welcome to the Build with ICF podcast with your hosts, Trevor Brown and Heather Herring Brown. Yep, they're a package deal. With over 20 years of ICF installation experience, Trevor can throw down some expertise on sales, marketing, and training. On the other side of the table sits Heather, aka the girl boss, and she's earned the title as the owner of an award-winning ICF construction company, a drafting and design company specializing in ICF. And the numbers? With a master's in accounting, she does that too. Sleeves up, boots on. This is the Build with ICF podcast.
I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. Been through the dirt. I've been through the dirt. Yeah.
I love it every time.
Yeah,
Every time.
So good.
So, welcome to the Build with ICF podcast, episode 3.
Yes. Very excited for today's episode.
I know. Which is the first for our episodes. We have our first guest.
Yes.
It's pretty exciting. So, I'm Trevor.
And I'm Heather.
Yep.
I thought you were going to say like your last name and do something.
I know.
but-
Sometimes I mix it up. So, anyways, we've got a great episode today. So, we have with us Vanessa and Salvia. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
That's correct.
I figured I just sounded out and hope it was right. So we have Vanessa Salvia with the ICF Builder magazine, and we actually work with her on some articles that we get to contribute every once in a while with the magazine. We're obviously subscribers and big fans of the magazine, and she's the editor, and she kind of has to call and prod us for our for our stuff every once in a while because we're always running late, but.
Yep. But no, the ICF Builder magazine it's funny that like when you start talking about, number one, you talk about World of Concrete and people are like, there's such thing as a World of Concrete. What is this? And then you talk about the ICF Builder magazine and like that, when you show them that, they're like, oh my gosh, like this industry is way bigger than what we thought it was.
Yeah, I think it gives legitimacy. So, Vanessa, we're going to put you on the spot up front. Just have you tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and kind of how you got involved in this industry, a little bit about your background and kind of how it transitioned into this.
Yeah, thank you for having me as a guest, Trevor and Heather. I'm happy to talk about this. You're right. The industry is, it's well known to us because we work with it every day, but for people who aren't part of the industry, they are always a little bit surprised. I've been to World of Concrete now. 2024 will be my 12th year. But when I tell people that, they're always surprised that, number one, it's been going on for so long and that it's such a huge thing. It's kind of hard to describe to people who haven't been there. But the great thing is it's growing every year. And the magazine has been, I think, a big part of that. This is the 2024 will be the 19th year of our award ceremony where we recognize projects in the industry. So it's exciting for me to have been a part of it for so long. And I got into the concrete industry through decorative concrete. I started working at a magazine that covered decorative concrete finishes and worked as an assistant editor for that magazine for about 3 years. And then I moved into a magazine that covered concrete construction. It wasn't specifically ICF, but it was all the different things that you could do with concrete construction in homes. And then from there, ICF was part of that. And so I started working with ICF Builder in 2018 as a contributor, writing some articles, interviewing some experts, and helping them get some articles in the magazine. And then I think most of the people who are in the industry probably know that the former editor Clark had medical problems, and I started working with him behind the scenes, helping him when he needed treatment and couldn't get some of the work done. And then I was in a position to take over the magazine after he passed away because I was familiar with him, familiar with the industry, and familiar with what the magazine needed. So I took over as editor in 2020, and that's kind of the my background in concrete in a nutshell.
That's cool, yeah, and it's like I said, a shout out to Clark Ricks. I think everybody that has been in for a while has had the pleasure to hang out with him, especially in Vegas at the Builder Awards, and he was very passionate about it. And like I said, I was lucky to spend quite a bit of time with him. I always grab lunch with him when I'd go up to North Idaho and get caught up with everything. So yeah, I think it's great what you guys have done. With you and Craig have taken this to another level. And I think you guys have done nothing but pay great respect to Clark and what he was doing with this magazine. You guys have just taken it above and beyond. And we see, the biggest thing that we talk about in the ICF industry is just the hardest part is educating and getting information out to people about the industry. Because a lot of people, they maybe have seen it, or maybe they've my friend or my brother, built something,
or they saw it on HGTV.
Yeah,
off-grid things.
Yeah, an off-grid show. And I think it's just it's every aspect that we have, whether it be this podcast or your magazine, that we are able to get more information out to people in different ways, is super crucial to the success of our industry. So it's great what you guys are doing. The one thing I was really curious about, because you see it from a different angle than we do. We have a drafting company. We see people asking for plans. We do some consulting and building, but you're seeing advertisers. That obviously that's a gauge of how successful our industry is how much advertising and people reaching out to you, and then also, like, where are these subscriptions going? Like, how are you seeing the subscriptions grow? Are you seeing them go to different areas? I mean, what are you seeing out there?
Yes, that's interesting. I mean, people like to say that print magazine is dying, and we definitely don't see that to be true, especially not with something that's a focused industry like ICF. People that want to know about ICF want to pick up the magazine. That's where they go to read the information that's just focused on that. So we definitely don't see it slowing down. I think that there's always been a greater interest in readership in places where ICF is common, like in some coastal areas and in the Southwest and in the Northeast. But we're seeing more interest from people all over the place now. We get inquiries to our magazine from people in Kansas or Ohio or Montana or places like that where ICF is not something typical. And they want to know, how can I find an installer in my area? How can I find someone who can help me with a plan? How can I find what manufacturers are in my area? They ask things like, how can I choose between the different types of blocks? They're asking informed questions, and we're getting those questions from more places around the country. So I think that's just one way that we can see that the impact is expanding. And then also ICFmag.com, which is the website for ICF Builder Magazine, we get over 20,000 unique visitors a month. So we know that these unique visitors, one-time visitors, people that have not come to the website before. So these are not advertisers. These are not manufacturers. These are not installers that are looking at stuff on our website all the time. These are new people who are coming and getting information. And then the other thing I can point to is that we have an ICF Builder group on Facebook. It's a very active group. We gained 10,000 members in just over the past year.
Wow.
So that's a clear sign, and that group is really active. I'm not saying this just to promote our own group, but it's a place where people from all levels of the industry go to have conversations and ask questions and get advice. We have experienced ICF installers in that group. We have DIY home builders in that group. We have block representatives. We have experienced ICF installers and general contractors in that group. People ask questions and they get experienced answers, or else they get told where to go get the answer if they don't have it. So it's a great place for people who want to find out how they can install ICS themselves or learn more about the different manufacturers. And I think just the fact that our membership has grown so much over the past year is just one example of how the industry is expanding.
Yeah, I'd agree. I sucked into the rabbit hole of the Facebook groups on stuff, because I tell people all the time. I mean, I've had the luxury of travel around the country and get to teach people in lots of different areas of the country about ICF and how to install. And I tell them in every class I do that if you got 10 of us installers in one room, you could hear 10 different ideas about how we may do something. And so it's important for everyone to kind of hear that out. I've been doing it for over 20 years, and I still go to job sites and people will show me something. I'm like, God, that's a pretty good idea. And the more I work with different guys in the industry that, some may consider competitors, we sit and bounce ideas off each other about how we would do a standing seam different, or how we do our headers, or what we use for window buck material. And it's those groups that you guys are providing that, like I said, it gets crazy, because I get in there sometimes, and of course you always get some off base things in there, but you get a lot of people really giving good information. And sometimes I'm not even commenting, I'm just reading some of the answers, because I want to follow what some of the other people in the other parts of the country are doing.
Well, and one of the things I love about the Facebook groups too is, like you said, there's homeowners, DIY, contractors, developers, block suppliers. There's everybody in there. And the really cool thing is, somebody will come on and ask a question, and then they will answer it, and also, kind of tag somebody else and say, hey, what do you think of this? I know you're doing this with waterproofing, reach out. And so we refer to each other all across the country, just constantly.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I noticed about the concrete industry a long time ago, actually, from my earliest days in the industry, is that people in concrete are happy to share information with other people. They're happy to share knowledge and skills. They want people to be successful. And so that's why having a group like this is nice, because people can go in there without knowing anything and get some of the information, because people are willing to share it.
Yeah, I think that I've been involved in the building industry my whole life, but just in ICF, I think it's better than most, where there's just I can count a couple times in all the years I've been doing this that I've ever had a bad experience with a quote unquote competitor, or somebody that was not helpful. And you know what? They didn't stay along, in around the industry very long. I mean, you look at some of the OGs that I talked to, with Randy Daniels and Tom Patton and Mike Dalzell and Mike Connaught, a lot of these guys that we run into all over the place, and Matt at Superform, and I mean, it's amazing when we sit and reach out to all these guys, and it's like, oh, I may not install their style, their brand of block, but I can always call them and ask them a question or something if I need to. So it's definitely that way in the industry, which is, I think, why it makes it so helpful.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. And I wonder if you see this too, Vanessa, but like, it seems like every ICF manufacturer, installer, they're just about promoting the industry. It's not necessarily specific.
It's us versus stick frame. I mean, it's more of it's us against the stick frame world, the 90%,
I definitely do see that. And I think that the main thing to remember is that, yes, there are differences in blocks, there are differences in manufacturers, but any of them that you choose are going to be better than building with wood. So,
agreed. Thank you. You get it. Yes.
And there used to be, because there's, every block is just a little bit different. And I loved, you guys had, and I don't have a magazine to grab out in front of me right now because they're at our warehouse, because they get stolen from our house here. But there was like a table on there that talked about
brand comparison that they do. I think you guys do it every year, right? A brand comparison episode.
We have a brand, we have an ICF comparison chart that's on the website. We do update it every year or two. It also has a comparison chart for decking, embracing, and alternative ICFs, which are similar type blocks. The main thing is it gives, some of the differences in size, some of the difference in manufacturing locations and things like that, where if you're looking for a certain feature, you can go to that chart and easily compare the different types of blocks.
It's huge. And I mean, I know I utilized it as a salesperson in the industry, working for, when I was working at Amvic, I wanted to know, what all the other brands, I wanted to be educated on what the other brands have. And I was happy to, we didn't make a breakdown block, for example. So I would always, utilize that chart and look and say, all right, who makes a breakdown block? Because I'd get a call from someone, they say, hey, we have a big project in, Puerto Rico, and we think this would be a great thing. I would be absolutely, this is a great idea. ICF would be amazing for that. We don't necessarily have a way to ship a lot of block that way. I think you need to look at, these companies that make a breakdown block. So I was happy to lose some of that business to give it to the right companies that do that. And I wouldn't know a lot of that information necessarily if I couldn't quickly reference it on that chart. So I think it's really great. And then you go to like a DIY or a new customer, and to be able to look at one chart and say, oh, these quickly are the differences, and narrow down to the groups that you want to talk, or the brands you want to talk to. So super important.
Yeah, it helps you narrow down where to look. Yeah.
So how are you, what are you seeing in, back to the magazine part of it, as far as advertising and stuff? Are you, how's that going? Are you seeing that it is, I'm curious if you're seeing more alternative products to the ICF block. I mean, it's a no-brainer for
support products.
Yeah, accessories, support products, stuff like that, because it seems like I was in the industry before we had Simpson hangers or floor joist hangers, and I remember when Simpson started making ICF hangers, we were like, oh my God, we've made it. Like somebody, these other companies are doing things for the ICF industry. And I think that you probably are seeing a little bit more advertising of those accessory products as well.
We do see advertising of accessory products. We see bracing, we see some rebar type materials, we see waterproofing materials that can go on the ICF block. We see advertisers from all across the industry. It definitely isn't just a place for the block manufacturers. I mean, what I like to say is that people who read our magazine and people that find the information on our website are people that are searching for ICF.
Mm-hmm.
They end up on our site to read an article about ICF or to see a house that's been built with ICF, which kind of ties in with our award ceremony that's coming up. So everybody of all aspects of the industry ends up on our website. Homeowners who are just trying to figure out what ICF is. Advertisers know this. They know that they're able to reach pretty much everyone who's interested in ICF in our magazine. So that helps us have a broad reach.
So speaking of that, I'm going to transition to the ICF Builder Awards. It's the Oscars for our industry. It's we all get dressed up, we walk the red carpet. It's very very bougie. We have a great time every year at that event, and I am blown away every year at how you guys just pack more and more people in there. I mean, I think back to when I first started going to those things, and it was just a small room at the convention center and half full. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and now it's like standing room only.
You got to get there early to get a seat.
I mean, we had people that didn't get a seat last year. I mean, it's just such a success for you guys. Heather's an award winner. I've got a couple of awards, from there, and they sit right here I'm pointing behind me. Nobody can see it, but they sit right here on my shelf right here in my office, because you're so proud of it when you're in that industry. So tell us a little bit about the awards and how they're going, what you're seeing. I know you guys are getting a lot more applicants than you have in the past. So how's that going for you guys?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say that I first met Clark, the previous editor, at the ICF Builder Awards, and I attended because I wanted to keep up with what was going on in the industry, and Clark was presenting, and now here I am presenting. So for me personally, that's been a rewarding transition, and I'm happy to be able to be the host of this. So 2024 will be my third year as the host of the ICF Builder Awards, and it has grown tremendously just over the past 5 years and just over the past 3 years that I've been doing it. This is the 19th year. The main reason that Clark and Craig, the publisher, started that award ceremony was because they wanted to recognize the projects that were advancing the industry. Mm-hmm. They wanted to give a way to recognize and honor the builders, the use of the material, and highlight the many versatile projects that could be built with ICF. And I think it's gone a long way to increase the awareness of the industry as a whole. Part of what we are doing with the Builder Awards is we have the judges who choose a winner, um, first runner-up and second runner-up, but we also have videos of the projects on our website or on our YouTube, where people can go and watch a minute-long video about the project and then vote for the ones that they think should be the People's Choice winners. So hopefully that's bringing in people who aren't builders, or maybe people who aren't necessarily involved in the ICF industry, and they can see some of these projects too. I can tell you that in 2024, we had the largest amount of entries ever into this award ceremony. We had a 25% increase over 2023's entries.
Wow.
And a 37% increase over 2022. So we're getting more entries every year and a more variety of projects every year.
Yeah,
another example.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, you guys just added a couple new categories, correct?
Yeah, so one of the examples that I can give you as the growth of the industry is just with regards to pools. So a couple of years ago, we had pools that were entered as a specialty application. So we had, specialty application would be something like a landscape retaining wall, something that's not a home or a structure that's built with ICF. One of the unique applications was somebody built a holding tank for fish, for koi fish.
That's the one I always use. I'm like, that's so out there, but that's awesome.
Yeah, so we would have pools entered into the mix of this specialty applications category, but there wasn't enough pools to make it its own category. Well, this year we got multiple pool entries, and pools is its own category. So that's just one example. People are realizing that if they're building the foundation for the home, they can dig a hole for a pool at the same time. And then they're having their home built with ICF. They can have the ICF placed for the pool at the same time with the same crew and the same material. And they don't have to special order separate pool material. They don't have to schedule a whole separate team to come in and build the pool. And you get all the same benefits of ICF with the heat retention and the durability and everything that you get with ICF for your home, you get it for your pool. So people are learning that ICF can be used for lots of different things. That's just one example.
So I'm hearing that we're pretty soon we're going to have the ICF Pool magazine. It's a separate magazine.
I think you're onto something there, Trevor. I think we need to start a pool only magazine.
It's amazing. I will tell you that just being out and about, that's probably the fastest growing thing that I've seen over the last 10 years has been just the overwhelming amount of calls. When I was managing a Western 11 states, we had, hundreds of distributors that would call me like, hey, do we have any like pool plans? That was the hot thing. And I've actually used you guys as an example when I'm talking to people and say, yeah, I've actually got, we've created a whole separate episode or a category in the awards because of it. And I watched that happen, and I agree with you. That was really crazy. I like the first few years when they were mixing them into the specialty category, and then all of a sudden it had its own. So it's pretty cool. And I just think, I'm blown away at the success that you guys. And this is a complete compliment to you and what you guys have done. I get people who, when they're ordering block before they've even put one on the ground, they're asking me what it takes to get into the awards. We're going to win an award with this thing. Like they're already saying like, oh, this project's going to win an award. Like it's become to the point that people are already thinking about how they're going to win an award before they even start the project. So, kudos to you guys for making it that, sought after for everybody in the industry.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you. And we give awards in 9 categories. We have pools as one. We have 3 residential size categories. We have an education category, which includes schools or other educational facilities. We have heavy commercial and light commercial. We have multifamily projects, which could be something like a senior center or a hotel or a condo. And then we have multifamily low-rise projects, which are under 5 stories. So and then specialty applications. So any kind of project that somebody could build with ICF could be entered into the awards. And
Well,
it's a great way to get recognition.
yeah, I think it helps, and I can't think of anything that really helps grow the industry more than just with those that one book, that just the awards book, the that comes out with the during the awards there, that shows all the nominees and winners. Because of the fact that I can take that book to somebody and really open their eyes to the different things you can do with it. I mean, and I've out west, I don't think we don't see as much of the high rise stuff as they do in the East Coast. When you show somebody like, here's 3, look at these 3 award winners from last year. These are multifamily 12-story hotels, 20-story hotels. Here's these schools, here's these fire stations. I mean, it makes people, whether you're selling retail or residential or commercial, you can show the people, like, this is how big this industry is. Look at these examples. And I think it's probably one of the most valuable things I carry. Is I always stuff my bag with those with those catalogs at the awards show, because I know I'm going to hand them out to people and use them in my sales pitch.
Well, and I loved last year. I think last year might have been the first year that you guys did the online for the People's Choice, and
it was the year before that was the first year, actually.
Okay, because we've been going on and watching, the little, slideshows of each property and all this stuff, and you vote, and then, it's so cool because it's posted on the Facebook group, and we'll share it on ours, and just to get the word out there. And I think that was the funny thing. I think the first year that we posted it on our Facebook page, one of my clients goes, "Well, are you going to put my house in for an award?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but you told me you didn't want me to put it in for an award." And they're like, "Oh, well, we changed our mind. Let's do it."
Yes, I think it's so right, because, I mean, it helps. People need to be able to see the projects. Seeing the pictures, seeing the videos really helps, because there could be this impression that a concrete home, an ICF home, is just a blocky square or a rectangle. And the reality of building with ICF is it's so much more than that. You could build curves, you could build arches, you could build steps and stories and all kinds of things with it. And when you can see these projects and see the variety and see the quality, anything from, a tool shed or a shop to, a multi-story hotel, you can really see the use of the ICF. And I guess I would say on our end, yes, we want to keep the magazine going, but the main idea for all that we do with the awards, with the Facebook, with the YouTube videos, is to share it. We want more people to see what's possible. We want as many people as possible to see what's possible with ICF, so that when it comes time for their project, they know that ICF is trusted. They know how durable it is. They have all the benefits of it, and they know that it can be any type of project that they want it to be. It can have any kind of look or style that they want, and they're going to end up with a home or a structure that's going to blow them away, as far as the performance and the comfort of the building. So it's really about just sharing what ICF can do with as many people as possible.
I couldn't agree more, and that's well said, and I think it's exactly what you guys are doing and why you're there and why you guys are so successful at it. So thank you for all the work you guys do on that, because I think it helps, your magazine helps everyone in the industry. So we appreciate the work, and we know it's a lot of hard work behind the scenes to make it look that good and make it as successful as it is. So that's awesome. I do want to touch on, so you guys also have another magazine, waterproofing magazine, right?
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit about that, because that's a huge question asked in the ICF world. Is it's one of the top 5 questions asked when we talk to people about ICF is about waterproofing.
Yeah, so we do have another magazine called Waterproofing. It's called Waterproof, excuse me. And it covers building waterproofing from below grade to the roof, pretty much any aspect of waterproofing that you might want to know. including how do you waterproof on ICF, and you can do it. It's just you can use a lot of the same material, maybe just a slightly different technique. Waterproof magazine covers different types of materials. It covers different techniques. It covers roofing, wall assemblies, flooring, pretty much anything that you might have a question about with regard to building envelope.
Yeah, that's cool, and it's something that we've got more involved in as a company in the last year. We've just had more and more people really asking us about it, and we came across a really good product that we'll have on this episode. They'll have an episode about waterproofing that we'll bring them on for people to talk about the different options. But yeah, I think it's huge, and it's, again, having its own magazine obviously states what a big deal it is. If we can justify a magazine, it shows how important it is to people and how many people out there are concerned with it. So that's another great thing. So I think we're getting ready to about wrap up here.
Yeah. So Vanessa, how do people reach out to you to subscribe to the magazine? What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah. So go to icfmag.com, and there is a tab on there for subscriptions. It's pretty easy to find, but you can also email me. I'm an editor@icfmag.com, and I can put you in the right direction.
Awesome.
We'll put those links in the bio for this episode, so everybody can just click on it and go on there. And then you guys, as far as social medias, what are you guys on social media? Instagram, any of that stuff?
Yeah,
Just look you up.
Yeah, we are easy to find on social media. I would recommend that people go to the ICF Builder group on Facebook.
Okay.
If they want to be a part of that group. These links you can find them from icfmag.com. You have to request to join ICF Builder group. It's not public group, but it's easy to find. If you just go to facebook.com/groups/ICF Builder group, and that's where a lot of the discussion takes place. We do have a Twitter. I guess you call it X now.
X. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. It will always be Twitter to me.
But yeah, go to icfmag.com, and you can find your way to all of these different places. Yeah.
That's awesome. Vanessa, I want to thank you, just take a minute to thank you so much, because you guys do such a great job, getting to watch you take over and host the event for the awards. I kind of, in our local market, we have a parade of homes, and there's those that go on all across the country. I feel like the ICF Awards is like the national or international ICF parade of homes and parade of business. Just, it's so cool to be able to show people the possibilities. So thank you so much for putting that on and doing such a great job with that every year.
Thank you, Heather.
All right, I guess we'll wrap it up. We appreciate everybody listening, and like we tell everybody every time, this podcast is for informational podcast for you guys. If you have any questions, you can reach out at info@buildwithicf.com. You can find us on all the socials at buildwithicf. Don't hesitate to either send us an email or DM us with any questions or episodes you'd like to hear. I know everyone's got a little different take on what they want to learn, and we're willing to hear all of them. We said it before, we'll do 2,000 of these episodes if we have enough people asking questions, and I know we can find the people just like Vanessa that can give us the answers, and so we appreciate all of our guests. We appreciate our listeners. If there's anything we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So, and with that, I guess we will see you on the next episode.